From Miles Bridges' wife suing him for abusing her in front of their kids, to Trevor Ariza's partner wanting full custody of their children. There have been tons of times when NBA players' wives and girlfriends have sued them. Let's start off with Miles Bridges, who was charged with injuring his spouse. The Charlotte Hornets restricted free agent was charged with a 3-year probation. This was after he pleaded no contest to 1 count of domestic violence. Days after the incident happened, Michelle Johnson, his wife and mother of 2 kids, took to social media to share images of the alleged abuse Bridge inflicted on her. And to make matters worse, apparently, all of this happened in front of their kids. Not cool. Miles, who was 24 at the time, entered a no-contest plea. This was for injuring his spouse during a situation that escalated in California. Now, for those who may not know all the legal lingo, in California, a no-contest deal means that you're basically accepting the charges without really admitting any guilt. Now, you may be wondering, why accept the conviction when you're supposedly innocent? Well, it's because doing this allowed him to avoid jail time. Bridges still had to serve 100 hours of community service, while also undergoing a domestic violence and parenting class during probation. The athlete has also been banned from owning any form of a firearm or other dangerous weapons, which, considering his history, is probably a good thing if you ask me. Later in January 2023, a restitution meeting was held, where it was said that the resolution the court arrived at was the best way to hold Bridges accountable for his acts. Apparently, the victim's legal team was okay with how things played out. But that's far from the only case of an NBA player being sued by their spouse, because there's also Darren Collison's 2016 arrest. The Sacramento Kings point guard apparently got in hot water after he inflicted a corporal injury on his spouse. He also had 2 misdemeanor warrants for driving with a suspended license. The Kings were quick to comment on the whole situation, saying that they were aware of the charges and that they condemn violence of any kind. That said, at the time, they didn't really make any comments, besides just saying that they were gathering additional information and would take the proper steps after the facts were known. The Placer County Sheriff's Office took to Facebook to share the details of the case. They mentioned that the woman Darren had abused was found with visible injuries. The victim's name was not released since this was a case of domestic violence. Darren was granted a bail of $55,000 and was set to appear in court on July 11th. If found guilty, he could find himself facing up to 4 years in state prison and a fine that totaled around $6,000. Then, in September, he was found guilty of the charges against him as he reached a plea deal. Though the deal made his time in jail very short, although it was still probably not sweet. He had his 20-day jail sentence commuted by working on community service projects, and this was overseen by Placer County, California. He also received 3 years of informal probation and was forced to attend a 52-week treatment class as part of his deal. But there's another notable example of an NBA player acting this way. Yep, I'm talking about Matt Barnes. He was forced to pay his ex-wife, Gloria Govan, as much as $133,000. And this was because of unpaid child support. The couple had 2 teenage twins together named Carter and Isaiah. Interestingly, Govan really needed that money so she could satisfy a judgment issued to her. Apparently, the lawyers that had helped her in her divorce case against Barnes were now suing her and saying that she allegedly owed them as much as $197,000. And it seems that Matt was the one who ended up having to pay for all that. But don't think he's too innocent in all this, because this isn't the first time he's gotten in trouble with the law. In fact, just a year earlier, Barnes was hit with a lawsuit from his fiancée, Anansa Sims' former husband. He stated that Barnes had allegedly committed battery, assault, and also caused emotional distress during an incident that happened during a San Francisco 49ers versus Dallas Cowboys football game. Oh, and let's not forget the time when he turned himself in to the police, when he got got into a fight with a woman at a club, he could be seen choking her in the video, as well as punching her boyfriend. And to top it all off, he was even facing a misdemeanor assault charge at the time. So I'd say it's pretty much a common occurrence for this guy at this point. And the same can be said for Meta Sandiford Artest. The basketball legend may be a great person on the court, but outside, it seems he's anything but. And that's because he allegedly abused his ex-wife, Kimsha. The two were high school friends and became lovers when they were teenagers. And then in 2003, they got married. Things seemed fine until 2011, when they decided to call their marriage off, due to issues that were simply too tough to fix. While nothing official came out, sources close to the two revealed some pretty terrible details about the whole thing. They mentioned that Meta used to abuse Kimsha, which led to a lot of mistrust and issues in their relationship. In fact, there are even records of a suit being filed at one point, although it's unclear if anything really happened with it or if the two decided to settle it on the lowdown. Meta has seemingly moved on and is currently in a relationship again, but his ex-wife is seemingly enjoying the single life again and has gone silent ever since their separation. Let's just hope Meta is treating his current partner better, or he may have to deal with yet another lawsuit on his hands. Plus, there's one other NBA star that's been in legal trouble before, and it's Dwayne Wade. He got into legal trouble pretty recently when his ex-wife, Siobhan Funches, sued him for allowing one of their kids to change the gender they identify as. Dwayne's daughter admitted that she changed her name with the support of her father, and apparently, Siobhan was not having it. She said that Zaya was too young to be making decisions like that, and Wade shouldn't have approved of it. She also argued that Wade may have been pressurizing their kid and forcing her to come out with her new identity to somehow capitalize on the financial opportunities it would provide him from companies. Funches said that Wade planned on making Zaya famous due to her new name and gender. And finally, this list wouldn't be complete if I didn't mention Trevor Ariza. Back in 2022, he was apparently being sued by his ex-wife, who wanted full custody of their kids. Bree Anderson filed the divorce documents in court and mentioned that the two had irreconcilable differences. Despite this, she did want the NBA player to still be granted visitation rights. The two were married in 2018, and I'm guessing things didn't really work out between them. They'd dated each other for quite a few years before getting hitched. But I suppose not everything is meant to last, especially because back in 2020, Trevor's ex stated that the NBA player posed a threat to her son. Trevor denied the allegations though. But in any case, that's all the times an NBA player was sued by their partner.